Hey y'all, welcome back to the ranch. I'm Jared Paul, and today I just want to take a lap around the place just to show you a nice update. This summer has been an insane growing season, the best I can remember since I've been doing bonsai these 7 years, and definitely just like South Carolina weather, hot, humid, just lovely rain at night, just tropical conditions. So with that being said, I'll show you my tropical corner here. I brought all these out about a month ago, maybe a little longer. And just look at this Stellonyx regia flame tree forest. I haven't pruned this thing in, I want to say, 2 years because I haven't touched it this year. So anyways, it's just like magically flowing together. And then, you know, the citrus and other things are looking nice. This bougainvillea from my broski Matt Brennan came back strong after a really hard prune. It died back. It had a ton of branching and foliage, just, you know, young and leggy last year. But after I repotted it, it did not like it. So I pruned it back hard, and it's nice to see that's back. So, yep, we're going to take a lap down, go say hi to the goats, make it around, and just take a look at all the trees. So that's what's coming up on today's episode of Jarhead Bonsai. Took Stella paddleboarding yesterday for the first time. She was a huge fan. Loved jumping off and swimming. Not so much letting me paddle, but anyways. So you see these rows of Sharon. I pruned them back the hardest I ever have this year, and they must have grown 3 feet this summer since budding out. Can't even keep up with the gardens, with everything that's flowering and growing. The lilies were insane this year. So I've got a little white spruce, one of my 500 that I started a little tree farm with about 5 years ago. This tree, I don't know what it is. When I Yamadori'd it, I thought it was a birch because of the bark, but I don't think these leaves are. Here's my hickory topiary, looking nice. I like this planting, really came together this year, and that tree was from directly underneath, see that bend? Directly underneath these steps when I moved in 6+ years ago. So this is another hickory that sprouted up that I'm letting grow in the garden to catch up. It's actually catching up pretty quickly. It's a year, maybe 2 years younger than that one. So anyways, I'm going to dig that one up when it matches the trunk size, probably into this year. Next April, maybe I'll dig that bad boy up and pot it up because I'd like to have 2 matching hickory topiaries. All right, it's going to be a long video if I don't get to it. So, if y'all have watched my channel before, you remember Carl. Well, Carl and the rest of the hens are no longer because it must have been a fox, I'm thinking. But they were old. They were like 7 years old, so honestly, there wasn't that many left. So I'm not that sad because I've never had chickens age out, but it was getting annoying having chickens that really didn't lay and having to take care of them morning and night, no matter what. Snow, rain, doesn't matter. So they were old, so I was happy to feed the fox. Laura not happy with me. These are of the same white spruce of that one I just showed you on the front steps. All right, these were my prized ones that I've just let grow because I have a dream of doing like some insane privacy wall one day with them. And yeah, don't always plan to be at the ranch. We'll see. This is where we're going to raise our kids, so I'm going to have to spread these out obviously next year. A lot of them are in sandbags, but at a minimum I put tons of old boards and stuff underneath, so their roots couldn't have gotten deep because there was like 3 inches of wood down there, so they'll be easy to dig up and move. Well, not easy, but easier. So, but anyways, the chicken coop just like first friggin' time. I got it perfect. Got the grapes growing over the top. Wildflowers all around. You'd think they're the safest they ever been, but no. All right, and here are my kids. Having goats, they're the best pet I've ever had. I love these guys. They're gentle with Stella. I let them out, and I don't have to weed whack as much, or I don't weed whack as much, because they like to eat all the edging. They do a great job weeding. They follow me around. Huh. Yeah, so I'm letting them out a bunch today to play. I just don't feel like doing it during my video because Stella isn't awake yet. And that would just be like, oh my gosh, she would kick my butt if I played with the goats without her. So we got this old 1970s camper last year, and we haven't done much with it. Oh, hey, bunny. But I figured since JJ is young, he just turned 6 months. Stella just turned 3. Like, I'm not trying to make my life any more complicated by taking an old camper somewhere and it potentially breaking down with young kids. So I just set it up in the yard so it's fun. Come out here and play. Stella does. We might spend a couple nights outside just for, to mix it up. Have fun with the kids. So I set up the fire pit, set that up like a little redneck section of the property. Like, look at this magnolia. Like, you kidding me? All those volunteers. This thing was freshly pruned. Nice. Got our apple tree. Looks like it's gonna be a great year for apples. Boom. It's like that going all the way up. So Stella was trying to eat one yesterday. I told her like 6 times, Stella, it's not gonna taste good. They're not ripe yet. But of course she took a bite and then she's like, yuck. Tried to feed it to the goats and the goats didn't want it either. All right, so if you're wondering where all 500 of these friggin' trees I'm talking about, these white spruce, these are the little guys. But they're all in sandbags, and I just surrounded these other large spruce with them up front. No, it doesn't look good, but they're readily available up in the front of the property now, so I am actively looking for someone to buy them. Norwegian spruce, not looking its best. These probably need a repot. These are 2 of the few. I repotted like 70 friggin' different pots. That's not including like the many trees that were in the forest. Oh, and over there are the rest of the spruce around the street. So I never intended to keep 500 white spruce trees, but if you bought 500, they were 30 cents each. So I got them 4 to 8 inches bare rooted and put them in those sandbags. And the first year was a little work, but then since then they water themselves, they grow themselves. Some of them I pulled out. It's another Norwegian spruce. It's blue spruce. This one's actually looking better. It was struggling before. I pruned it directionally terribly and just ruined all the natural flair of the tree. So good to see it's coming back. That was a rookie mistake. It took literally 6 years to recover. All right, over here, like the aforementioned fucking Matt Brennan, he yelled at me a few years ago for pruning these in fall, and was like, that's the wrong time. And I was like, I do it when I have time. And yeah, he was right. It took 3 years for these to like grow at all. This year they filled out nicely, but I literally thought that they were just going to be twigs for the rest of my days. I mean, this hydrangea has never done this well. Look at that. Hey, Beanie. All right, and then the last tree wrapping around. This is the Fraser fir that I absolutely chopped the hell out of this year. I had it like a Christmas tree, perfect conical shape. And then slowly I've been working to get it so that it has nice little pads. And I've been taking a branch here, off here and there. I mean, you can't really tell because of the wildflowers. But there's a few in there. And then I'm just going to develop those. And I want them all nice and separate, individual. Boom, compact puffs. And if it takes me 30 years, it takes me 30 years. So that's the goal. All right, to the bonsai deck. All right, so we're back where we started. Moving this way. I just had to bring these guys. If you recall, I had like 70 Japanese maples tightly potted. They were given to me, and the guy just didn't want to deal with them, and I gladly took them. And then it was like I didn't deal with them in time a couple years in a row to repot. Well, this year I repotted, and as you can see, they came back strong. I pulled a bunch of the nicer ones out of here and put them in pots. And this one I just left to be its natural madness. Okay, hey Mutts. Bruce Lee. Yeah, my boy's gonna be 16 this year. Millie's gonna be 12. They've been old since this shadow's been on. So here is Delonix regia. And you see this one single tree, how it has the big nappy canopy. The leaves are just big and long. But then that, tightly compact, and there's, I think, 7 trees in there. So it's just so cool. I think that group planting, it was a surprise planting. Like, it popped up when I thought the seeds were done, and I just left the seeds in that pot. I think I had an avocado tree in there. Yeah, something like that. Anyways, and then like 9 months later, they all popped up. So it was meant to be. So you remember these trident maples? They were munched on by the mice. But 2 years later, looking pretty good. I could probably do with a little canopy shaping, but I'm probably just gonna let them grow strong. These are some of those Japanese maples, the prized ones I said I pulled out of those trays. As you can see, they came back strong. Dawn redwood. Ordered it as a coastal redwood. Later found out, because it shed its needles, that it was a dawn redwood. So, not hating on it, but I look at it like it is a coastal redwood, because that was its intention. American yellowwood on the left. Red maple on the right. It's looking not happy with me, but it's been mega hot. So some of these maple leaves have burnt up. I just don't get to them in time in the morning, and then, you know, by the afternoon, if it's been a scorcher, that's what you get. More of the Japanese maples. So I got a bunch out of the trays, which is pretty cool. Trident. Another one of those mousy nibblers. Japanese maple. Yeah, this was my favorite one. It split right in the beginning. Nice green trunk. I hope it keeps the green trunk. So many different ones came out of there, different leaf color and trunk color, so it's interesting. This is an Italian wisteria. We brought back seeds from Florence. 1 out of 8 grew. So yeah, the Japanese maples came from these 80-year-old Japanese maples on an estate. I think I was giving away like old pots and different nursery things, and he was just basically like the property manager, gardener guy, and cool dude. And he just gathered all these like 1 to 2 year old saplings from underneath those 80-year-old trees, put them in trays, and then I reaped the rewards. So I just have a feeling like these things are just gonna, I don't know, be amazing in my life for something I got for free. Some more of these dawn redwoods, a couple of Japanese alcovas that did not get the pruning and attention they deserve this year, but here we are. They're just bushes. Said that weird as hell. Another mouse-eaten trident. They have a lot of character, at least, right? Yellow woods. All right, this video is getting a little long. Let me make my way around. Junipers. I did that planting this year. I think it's all right. Japanese cherry. You just see like everything's done so well. Like, this is a Jim Dandy winterberry, and I chopped the hell out of it. It was about to hear. Came back strong. My one surviving London plane tree, the worst bonsai tree ever. European birch from that same trip. Got the wisteria. It's the only other tree that I have from that trip grown from seed. Really cool colored trunk and leaf combo. I'm digging it. Black locust. Nice little blueberry. This thing had big blueberries on it, but I think the birds got them. This I pruned so hard, and it didn't take well to the repot. I think kind of like those ones I showed that Matt Brennan told me not to prune in the fall. I think these responded in the same way, even though it was spring work. They're just not happy. White pine from Yamadori. Might have to get that wire off soon. Japanese black pines. These dropped all their old needles this year. It was wild, but it's kind of cool now that they're coming in. Nice little pops. You see behind them. This is the dog's yard. There's Rosa Sharon. And then these are volunteered themselves. They're up and flowering. They're up and flowering. They like weave themselves into the fence. And I have this trumpet vine. Thing was trying to come up and over the corner on these bonsais. I was ripping it off last night. Hilarious. It's like I wish my broski Ian out in Northern Ireland, back garden bonsai, I wish he could have a growing season like this. I feel like it would blow his mind. But yeah, so these Japanese maples, also growing as topiaries like the hickories. I imagine them at different entrances of my house one day. The 2 pairs. They're looking good. Anyways, pretty cool shade. All right, these are like my play pots for Stella. I let her prune. They were just little volunteer trees that hopped into other plantings that I didn't want. So just variety. I like oak and Rosa Sharon. There's some maples in there. Boom. Long update, but it's summer, so I know it had been about a month since I had talked to y'all, so I wanted to throw something out there, show you how epic it has been. And anyways, we're having a good time, enjoying this hot weather. Hopefully you're having a nice summer as well, enjoying time with your family. So for my family, yours, cheers.